Hi everybody, how are we doing? I hope you're coping okay with isolation at home and being able to get some sort of golf element into your daily routine. I just wanted to come to you today just to have a little chat about what kind of elements you can work on which are more strength and conditioning related to golf. Where maybe we want to mix it up a little bit so it's not just chipping or putting or working on the swing itself, but we can work on physical limitations that can be a really strong part of a swing fault. Often it's because the body doesn't move as we want it to, so it manifests itself in a certain limitation, creating a swing fault in your swing, which I'll demonstrate in a second. But what I've got here is some of the equipment that I use at home, and I'm supposed to be using sort of every day at the moment to well, some sort of success, but not always. So I've got these things here which are wobble discs, so you pump air in them. These are brilliant. I do a lot of stability exercises on here, so I might be stood on. I pumped these up the other day, so they're very wobbly. You stand on them, I might hold a wet medicine ball and I might create some sort of just stability work with the lower body, working the core at the same time. A step box, which is really handy if I want to work on some sort of fast stepping action, creating some more of a cardiovascular element, or I might be using it as just sort of a step on, step off into sort of a lunging action. These type of bands here, I always get the ones with the handles on, because again you can tie them just around something. Here we've got lots of trees in the garden, so I'm able to hook them around a tree and use those. I've got a couple of medicine balls, 2 kilo, 3 kilo. This sort of Bosu ball over here. You don't need all of this. You can have as much or as little as you like. But what I wanted to sort of go through today is just a very quick glimpse at an exercise which can help with a very common fault. So often you'll have a coach talking to you about trying to create a little bit more lower body clearance through impact. So this takes actually quite a lot of movement from the lower body to be able to engage that action on the way down, and it often manifests itself into what we call an early extension, and we find the hips move forward. So it means that the gap between your arms and your lower body at impact gets very narrow, and then creates lots of different strike issues, contact issues, directional issues. So when we're working on this movement here, it's all very well to think, well, let's just create that in the swing. But if your body doesn't already know how to make that movement without the club in your hand, it's very difficult to do it when you've got the club moving at a very fast speed and you're trying to clear the lower body. So simple little exercise, first of all, that you can use. I'm going to use a step box for it. And again, this sort of comes from a lot of the information I've collected over the years is through the Titleist Performance Institute. I trained with them. I did their instructor courses, which have been absolutely brilliant. I use them within my coaching, but I got into it when they were still called Advantage Golf, and it was pre them turning into the Titleist Performance Institute. When I was playing on tour, I wanted to work on my fitness, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get injured at the same time. So this was back in the early 2000s, when strength and conditioning in golf was just sort of coming through, and information was starting to evolve, and we were getting better at training. So this is a very good lower body exercise. I'm going to use the step, but you don't have to. I start on the step, keeping my hands across the front of the chest. I work into a squat position, and then I rotate the lower body on the way up, trying not to step on Milo. So as we squat down, we're really pushing off this leg on the floor, rotate, keeping my chest pointing forwards. Very easy exercise. You can do it without the box, exactly the same thing. Most importantly, keeping the upper body pointing forward. Don't let the upper body drift with the hips. We're trying to create some resistance into that position. Another really good stretch for this, it means going onto the floor. So again, this is much more of a passive stretch, and again, it's something you might already do. Keeping the arms on the floor, head on the floor, leg up to the sky or knee, and you're simply going to take the leg across to the opposite side, trying to make sure you're keeping the shoulders on the floor. So we raise the leg and take it across. So I'm getting a nice stretch through my lower back. And again, it's a great way of trying to gain some understanding just what's your flexibility or your movements like. without the golf club in your hands. So those are two really simple exercises. One's a little bit more dynamic, the other one's a little bit more stretch related, but like with anything, when you're doing these things, go through a warm up first. Don't just go into a stretch when you're cold, because the first thing that's potentially going to happen is you're going to pull a muscle and injure yourself. So I'm going to do a few of these videos now where I start to talk a little bit more about what are the elements that you can do at home to start impacting those swing faults, but taking it from a purely strength and conditioning element, very specific to you. So some of this is going to be, you might already have the information on where you're tight, where you're limited. Some of it might be gaining a bit of understanding on that. So again, if you're unsure to whether you are tight in the lower body or tight in the lower part of your back to create that kind of hip rotation, again, a little exercise I get people to do when I'm coaching, it's best to do this in front of a mirror, arms across the front of your shoulder. You're going to keep your upper body still, and what you're going to do is rotate the lower body whilst trying to keep the upper body as still as possible. Now, what I tend to see with this, first of all, is most people will struggle just getting the hips to move separately from the upper body, and I'll see that, or I'll see that, which again links into that early extension through impact. So you're trying to just start to gain an understanding of what that is to create that movement. And like I say, a common exercise which is brilliant, I get a lot of my pupils to do it, is you get a stick, put it through the loops of your belt, so you're stood, and with the club in your hand, you start to feel how the left side of this stick is going to clear out of the way. And that's often a much easier way of being able to visualize what that action is on the way down. Now, get rid of the stick. Often what happens is we lose that feeling and it comes back into an early extension. Often it's because of that limitation. So starting to combine some exercises which link into a swing fault that you have that might be a physical limitation is going to make a big difference to when we get back out on the golf course, and you can really start to get going with your golf again with some really quality practice and exercises whilst we're all sort of stuck at home in this situation. So have a go. Any questions, let me know. Any other thoughts you might have, and you might say, Jo, what do you think about this? I think I might be limited here. Any ideas of any exercises I can do at home in the garden, golf related, then I'm more than happy to help. Just ask away and I'll put them in these videos. So keep going, keep practicing, and then maybe let's start to work on some of these exercises and getting them to link in to your own body, your own physical limitations that are creating maybe some of those swing faults. See you for now, and I'll be getting the next video ready. Thanks, bye.